After the brutal attack, the story jumps ahead a few months. We're now at Foraco, a private security firm that transports money for banks and major companies. The 2 guards who died earlier had worked for this very company, and their deaths have left open positions no one wants to fill. The job now feels like a death sentence. But then a man named Patrick walks in for an interview. Unlike everyone else, he shows no fear. His calm confidence catches the manager Terry's attention, who introduces him to the security chief. They check his papers, his gun license, and brief him on the company's strict rules. During training, Patrick is quiet but capable. The chief jokes, "You won't be joining Formula One anytime soon, but you'll do for this job." Soon after, he's introduced to the team, Hollow Bob and Boy Sweat Dave. "Looks like he can handle himself," one of them jokes. "You're already making friends," Terry says with a smirk. Patrick replaces a fallen guard, known as Sticky John. As they head out, Bullet, another senior officer, reminds everyone, "We ain't the predators, we're the prey." Rumors of the previous murders still hang in the air. One guard mentions he was supposed to drive the truck that day, but got lucky. Their next pickup is a $2 million job for the Bank of the US. The routine seems calm, but tension lingers. At the end of the day, Patrick walks to the attendance board, then suddenly stops, his eyes narrowing with quiet rage. Something on that board strikes a nerve. It's clear he didn't join Foraco for a paycheck. He's here for something personal, something darker. When a coworker tries to break the ice, "Hey, action man, let me buy you a beer," Patrick shuts him down with a cold no. The man laughs awkwardly. "Not much of a talker, huh, Mary Poppins?" But Patrick just walks away. His silence says everything. He's not here to make friends. He's here for revenge. The next morning, Patrick is back on duty, this time paired with Dave and Bullet for another money delivery. Their job is to transport cash to a casino near a cruise ship. On the way, Bullet insists on taking charge and goes inside first to make sure the area is secure, while Patrick and Dave wait outside, listening through the radio. But soon, the signal goes dead. Bullet has been captured. Over the radio, the robbers demand all the cash in exchange for Bullet's life, threatening to kill him if they don't comply. Dave panics immediately, but Patrick stays unnervingly calm. He tells Dave to do exactly what they say. Though furious, Dave knows there's no choice. They drive to the drop-off point the robbers mention, and before long, a car pulls up. Bullet stands there, a gun to his head, as one of the masked men orders Patrick to load the bags of money into the car. The tension thickens, and Patrick mutters under his breath, "They'll kill all 3 of us and take the money anyway." Moments later, gunfire erupts. Patrick's reaction is precise, calculated, no hesitation. When the smoke clears, the robbers are down. Later, during the investigation, officials review the footage and can't help but notice Patrick's brutal efficiency. "Kill or be killed," one of them remarks. The FBI agents in charge sense something off. They ask Patrick if there's any link between this attack and the previous robbery, but he gives nothing away. After the incident, Terry, the manager, suggests Patrick take a month off on desk duty, worried the bloodshed may have shaken him. Patrick's cold glare says otherwise. Before the tension can rise, the owner of Foraco walks in, congratulates Patrick for his bravery, and insists he stay in the field. The FBI agents, however, make a quick call to their superior the moment they leave. They reveal Patrick's true identity, a man who's been on the wanted list for over 25 years. Their boss warns them not to get in his way. Whatever Patrick is planning, it's far from over, and anyone who stands in his path won't live to regret it. Later that night, Patrick returns home. A woman named Kirsty, a private investigator working for him, arrives with a stack of confidential files. She's been digging into the lives of every employee at Foraco. Among the files are autopsy reports of the 2 guards who were murdered months ago. Patrick studies them intently, his focus landing on a name, Dana. By now, he's been at Foraco for 3 months, yet no one truly knows who he is or what he's after. But one thing is clear, Patrick's mission is deeply personal, and just when the routine seems to return to normal, fate strikes again. During another shift with Bullet, their van comes under attack once more. They scramble out of the van, everyone shouting. Someone coughs, "I can't see, covered," and coordinates crack over the radio. Chinatown, Broadway, and Hill. Get out of the truck. Get down on the ground. 3 seconds. For a moment, the city feels like a predator's den. Boots on pavement, men barking orders, then the shooters melt away as if they were never there. Standing in the street, one of the team mutters, "I'm starting to think he's a psychopath." And another answers under his breath, "It doesn't feel right." It was like he recognized H, like he saw something dark. Back at Patrick's place, the scene turns mean and personal. Men push their way inside, shove him down, and bark for answers. "Sit, 10 seconds. Explain he's accused of working with someone on the inside. His wallet, his retirement fund, even a framed photo of his parents become evidence on the table." Patrick stays quiet, measured, but the pressure is relentless. The interrogator lays it out plain. "If you're hiding something, we'll find it." Then, the story slides backward, 5 months. Patrick isn't just a security guard. He's H, a powerful crime boss who lives in a well-kept house with his son, Dougie, who has no idea of his father's true life. H tries to keep his boy away from the business, but his empire is built on the same money van heists that terrorize Foraco, plus crooked enterprises that pay the bills. On a day meant for father and son time, his phone rings. Mike, a trusted lieutenant, needs a favor. A Foraco truck will be passing, and they need someone to watch which way it turns. Someone from Mike's crew is out with an injury, so H reluctantly agrees to step in. What H doesn't know is that Mike's man recognized him earlier and fled, a coward's mistake that will come back around. As H watches from the corner, he's told, "All I need to know is if that truck turns left or right." The surveillance seems routine until old grudges surface. Accusations fly. Names, a dead child, blame hurled at H for things he might not have expected to confront. "You were shot at my son," someone spits. "You killed our son." The grief in the room makes the air sharp. H listens. Cool, but not immune. He promises he'll find who's responsible, but the men want a name, and their patience is short. "You're still going to give me a name," one insists. Under pressure, with money thrown on the table as both grease and threat, a name is finally whispered: the Gashi brothers. Keys are left in a car. 200 grand changes hands, and for a moment the whole affair looks like a transaction, a crude truce paid in cash. Even after the dust settles, the pieces don't fit neatly. H goes back to his boy, but the surveillance, the accusation, and the price paid have left a new line drawn in his life. He's stepped into his old world again, but everyone around him has seen enough to know this won't end quietly. Not for him, and not for the people who push too hard. They're nothing but filthy crooks, seasoned criminals who've hit trucks before, but they're not H's men. Out of options and consumed by revenge, H decides to infiltrate Foraco Company himself to uncover the truth behind his son Dougie's murder. To pull it off, he contacts Kirsty, a skilled private investigator who forges a new identity for him under the name Patrick Hill. Armed with fake documents and a convincing background, H applies for a position in Foraco's security division and gets hired. Kirsty isn't just anyone. She's the same detective who once handed H confidential data about everyone working in his company. Once H settles into his new job, he quickly senses something is wrong. Someone inside Foraco is leaking information to the robbers. At first, his suspicion lands on Dana, a co-worker who seems nervous and secretive. He tries to pressure her into talking, but she insists she knows nothing, and she's telling the truth. The real culprits are a gang called the Jackson Brothers, led by a ruthless ex-soldier named Jackson. Among his men is Jan, the same man who pulled the trigger and killed Dougie. Every member of the crew is former military, hardened and disciplined, but now using their skills for crime instead of duty. After their last big heist 5 months ago, their money has run out and desperation has set in. Jackson decides it's time for another job. This time, he warns the crew that Jan's recklessness in their previous robbery, killing Dougie and 2 guards, has made them targets for the police. They'll have to be more careful than ever. Now, their eyes are on a much bigger prize: Foraco's main depot. On Black Friday, the city's biggest shopping event, Foraco will be holding over $50 million in cash. Jackson's plan is bold: hit the depot, grab everything, and disappear forever. If they succeed, none of them will ever have to work or steal again. As the day arrives, tension runs high. Jackson's team prepares their weapons and trucks. "Let's go," he orders, and the crew moves with military precision. Their target isn't just one armored vehicle, it's the entire depot, worth over $150 million. Meanwhile, H and his colleague Bullet are heading to work like any other day, completely unaware that their world is about to collapse. Then, without warning, Bullet drops a shocking truth. Calmly, he admits that he's been the one secretly feeding the Jackson brothers information about the company, its schedules, security routes, and van locations. H freezes, realizing that Bullet's betrayal is what led to Dougie's death 5 months ago. Furious, he reaches for his gun, but Bullet smirks and tells him not to bother. He already removed the bullets. He then reveals that Jackson's men are coming today for the depot. If H wants to survive, Bullet says, he needs to stay quiet and cooperate. In return, he'll get a cut of the stolen money. With no other choice, H plays along for now. Moments later, chaos erupts. Surveillance cameras go dark. Armed men storm the depot, yelling orders and forcing guards to the ground. "Open the gate, or I'll blow his head off," one of them shouts. The alarm blares, and SWAT units are dispatched, but Jackson's men are ready. Heavy weapons, body armor, and zero hesitation. A brutal firefight breaks out. Men are gunned down. Bullets ricochet across the facility. Amid the smoke and screaming, H stays calm, waiting for his chance. The police arrive fast, but it's too late. The robbers barely manage to escape. Retreating leading to a safe house where everything begins to fall apart. Jackson is bleeding heavily and furious at how the job went wrong. In a rage, he blames Jan for disobeying orders again and ruining the plan. But Jan doesn't wait. He strikes first, slashing Jackson's throat and killing him instantly. Now, Jan is the only survivor with access to the stolen fortune. Later, he meets Bullet to divide the money. The two of them load the cash onto quiet dirt bikes and ride through an underground sewer tunnel toward an exit where a getaway car is waiting. But once they reach it, greed takes hold. Both men want the entire haul for themselves. The tension is thick, and once again, Jan acts first. He kills Bullet without hesitation, claiming every last dollar for himself. Calmly, Jan walks to the car, gets inside, and drives off with his accomplice. The city lights fade behind them. The sirens echo in the distance, and the story closes on silence. A haunting reminder of how betrayal and revenge always come full circle.